Anyone who feels a soreness in his stomach begins to land his hand on his stomach and hold it tightly, even if you walk and your leg flounders in the table by sitting on the ground and holding your leg and pressing on it, and the same need for what we always squeeze on the place of pain, and not only that, even when we feel a headache. Spontaneously by holding our brain and pressing it, what is the reason and the need for all of these needs to press on the place of pain, and why do we feel comfortable for what we do like this? Welcome to my channel Midnight Questions. Human skin in general has a large group of sensory receptors. One of the most important receptors is the touch receptors known as Merkel's nerve endings. The receptors remain densely present in the fingertips, and this is because they are the ones that provide the brain with all the different information about the medium and the bodies around us as soon as we touch any need around us, and let us put our hands on the pillow with the grace of the receptors early in the skin by following a signal to the nerve cells deliver the signal to another neuron until the signal reaches the spinal cord and from it to the brain, so the brain begins to translate the signal and send a message to the hand, telling it that you are now touching a need for grace to the degree of this grace, and if the brain still needs more information about the body that is in the hand, the brain begins to send a message asking the hand to move more on the body and feel it so that we determine the texture of it exactly, and of course this whole process happens in fractions of a second. The second type remained. What is important is the receptors in the skin. It is pain receptors that have more than 3 million pain receptors scattered throughout the body and are not present in the skin, but these are also present in the muscles, bones, blood vessels, and even in the internal organs, and the role of these receptors is that they pick up all the stimuli that are around us and reveal anything that can cause harm to your body, such as scratching or cutting in the skin. As soon as you feel an abnormal change in any of these things, these neurons start to follow the messages for the brain, and the one who translates the signal immediately and sends, which is our sense of pain. The bottom line of the tale is that the path in which the nerve signals walk with the touch and the path in which the nerve signals walk with the pain of the pain meet the dragon at the spinal cord, in turn evacuates the area of the spinal cord, working as the exact gate, and this is for the researchers to clarify already through the theory of the gate control of pain. As we said, when he got lost in his leg, the pain receptors in the leg began to follow a signal to the nerve cells connected to them, and from them to the spinal cord, and from there to the brain. The bottom line is that at the same moment we floundered if we grabbed our legs and pressed them. Touch receptors begin to follow a signal to neurons, and from there to the spinal cord, with the satisfaction of the spinal cord when it reaches more than one signal from the same part of the body allows the unit to encroach and stop the second, and after a grill, it encroaches one and stops the second, is the pain signal. This makes our pain reduced, even temporarily. This is, by the way, the same reason that makes us practice during pain, such as if we are disturbed, we catch a need, we sit in need, and we mess with our hands, all of which are distraction methods that we do involuntarily to use the signals to show off the pain signals. But does the subject actually stop there? No. Strange needs of the researchers is that when a person touches the affected area in his body, it improves the brain map of the body and allows the brain, it forms a clear image of the affected area, and this in the end helps reduce pain. And the biggest proof of this topic is if you are injured and hold it with your second hand, the pain begins to decrease relatively. But if there's a person standing next to you and he says to you, "Show me your hand," which is hurt like this, and he starts to bring his hand closer to hold the wound, you will start pulling your hand more and tell him, "No, I feel that it will hurt me more." And there are a couple of nice experiences that have been done regarding this phenomenon. A group of researchers from the Institute of Cognitive Neuroscience at University College London brought a group of volunteers and told them, "We will leave your fingers in the text exposed to a certain type of pain, and then we will do some tests." But the researchers of this experiment chose a little strange thing to make pain for people, which is that it is a refuge in a famous nervous trick called the illusion of the heat burner. This trick is simply that if you get 1/3 cup and put them next to each other, a cup of them, there's cold water in the other 2 glasses. They have warm water, and then you put your finger in the text in the cold water and the index fingers and ring fingers in the warm water. You will start to feel that your finger in the text is very hot, even though it is already placed in cold water. And I don't know, they made this whole movie so that the finger in the text would have made it hurt. The volunteer could have put his finger in the text in hot water in salvation. In the beginning they let them touch their middle morning, which is in their right hand, with their middle finger, which is in their left hand, and in this case they did not feel good. And when they left 2 fingers of their right hand to touch the fingers of their left hand, they also did not feel better. And when they brought a stranger, they let him touch the injured hand and press it comfortably as well. They did not feel better. What is the only case in which they felt any kind of improvement is when they touched their hands together themselves. In this case, the pain reduced me by about 64%. And you have a similar experiment. It was used with the exact same mechanism and in the same university as well. At this time, those responsible for the experiment came from the other. They offered the volunteers' hand to me a light electric bolt, and after the volunteers their hands were exposed to pain, they were also trying more than one case of self-touch in the first. They left the hands completely away from each other, and after that they owned a book that they put between Ed and Al-Mutawa, and the volunteer was empty and included her hands on each other, and after that they owned a stranger who landed his hand in the middle of the volunteer Eden, and finally they let the volunteers touch each other directly. What's unique about this experiment is that they visualized changes in the brain in each case by magnetic resonance. They noticed that the only case in which activity and a noticeable change occurred within the brain is the case of the volunteer touching himself, and the researchers concluded from the experiments that the subjective touch of the body sends various signals to the brain and describes to it all the details of the area in which there is pain, such as its location, the degree of pain itself, the temperature of the place, and other details, as if literally drawing a map of the brain. It has all the information about the accident that happened and therefore solve the problem and reach the place as fast, so that the brain starts. We reached the end of the video. Thank you for your good follow-up and see you in the next video.